Green 8951. Wow, already on here. All right, let me drop this down just a little bit. I think that might be a little better. Lieutenant Green, airborne, yes. Yes. Okay. Well, welcome everyone as you come in. I'll go ahead and get started. Like I said, I felt like I needed to do one of these either last night or tonight, and tonight's the best night. And I'm going to try to. Hello, Susan McEwen. Yes, I'm going to try not to take up too much time on talking just randomly like I sometimes do. My purpose in this live stream tonight is to try to see questions on the chat. Now, I understand that Roosevelt's here, and Roosevelt will probably help me know which questions are really good, and I will address those if I can see Roosevelt's posts. So, it'd be nice to have a call-in line. That's just not ever going to work out, at least not in the very near future. As a matter of fact, it's probably going to get harder and harder all the time due to the circumstances of the way things are progressing. But I thought I'd, not that I know all of the answers, I certainly don't, but I have a lot of experience across the full spectrum of all the things we're seeing right now, except for finance. Now, if somebody has any questions about finance, I can give basic information like, be careful where you put your money, but I couldn't tell you where to put it. I'm just not that kind of a guy. I'm not a financial whiz. I never have been, as far as the stock market or investments or anything like that. So yeah, the notifications. I've had several people tell me that both on Twitter and on YouTube they're not getting the notifications. Those are shadow banning, and considering all that's going on right now, especially what they've done to me, Twitter suspended me there for a while. They still haven't gotten my DMs or message requests back up where I can use it, and also, YouTube has taken quite a few things down. How serious is this war? We're going to talk about that. As a matter of fact, that's probably a good first question, Lee Rabulin, it looks like. It's very serious. Even if this is, and I'm talking in general terms now, okay? So we know that false flags are a big thing that they do. Hi, Roosevelt. Thanks for being here. If you see any questions that I need to address that you think are really important, maybe you can kind of put that up there. Don't try to call me because when it's on here, I can't answer it, so that won't do any good. But I'll watch the chat as closely as I can. How serious is the war? It's like I said about a week or two ago. Even if this was a planned thing to get our attention off of all the other things that are happening, thank you, and to to distract us basically. You play these kinds of games and things can get out of hand. All right, so it's very dangerous, especially when Putin's already said, they're not beyond using nuclear weapons this time. Whether he's serious or not, I think he is under the circumstances. And then we don't help the situation because one of the problems is he sees these weapons coming up closer to his border. We violated the Minsk Accords again, with everything going on in Ukraine. If you don't know what the Minsk Accords is, you need to look that up, and you'll see that it's NATO and America, the West, that has violated it, not Russia. So they see these things happening and they're reacting. Well, the problem, of course, is now you probably heard it from Psaki and a few other people that they're moving, that NATO and the United States is going to move nuclear weapons up closer to Russia. Now, whether they're just saber rattling on that for consumption for us to think that things are we're tough when we're not. Putin will know the difference, okay? And if that really does happen, yeah, it could go bad real fast. Okay, so it's serious in that regard. And of course, the basic bottom line of all of this, how serious it is that it's not really Russia that's the target. I mean, yeah, the old Trotskyites, the neocons, as they're called now, they want to influence Russia. They want to get back in there because Lenin and Stalin kicked them out, and they want to get back in and be the ones controlling it. That's really part of history why this is all going on. The neocons are Trotskyites. If you don't understand that, look that up too, history wise. But uh, it, it could get bad, and they're going to turn. We're actually the target. You and I, the peoples of the world, the people that are just trying to live their lives, make things as good as they can for themselves and their families. Those are the people that are really the target. We are the target. No matter what's happening between the United States and Russia, the United States and China, no matter what's happening on all of that, the bottom line is you are the target. We are the target. So, we could talk about the strategies and the tactics and the lies, like I've labeled this video. They've hidden behind a refuge of lies, and that's exactly what's happened. That's exactly what you're seeing. I mean, everything that's happened in the last 2 years, you should know that by now. And I think most of the people that follow me understand that that's what it is. And of course, their father is the father of lies and the father of murderers. And that's why they don't make any sense to the rest of us. What they do makes no sense to us because they don't think like we do, and we don't think like they do. And we might get into that a little later. I don't want to get into scriptural stuff at the beginning of this. I want to leave it open to you. So, in other words, regardless of what's happening in the world, the WEF, the New World Order, all of this going on that are maneuvering things around, they want to eliminate all of us. They want to make us slaves first, which we already are now, but they want to tighten the noose down more. And then the next step is to start literally killing us off. So no matter what else is going on, you've got to prep, pray, and try to stay out of the way. It's like I said, don't send your kids into the military, your daughters especially. Keep them out of there. Don't be a part of this thing. They might try to draft them or force them in later. Don't do it. Hide them away, whatever you need. I'll probably get arrested sometime for saying all these things, but I really don't care. You know, put me in front of a court, and I'm gonna sing like a canary. Is that the right one? Sing like a birdie, whatever. Um, so we just need to resist it. Everybody that says to resist, to stand your ground, that's all part of it. But it's very upsetting when you see a large majority of the people, probably the majority of them, are just fine bowing down to this. I'm still seeing people walking around outside with masks because the propaganda has been so strong and so many people are weak minded. We have a problem with weak minds in the world right now. I mean, it's always been a problem, but right now it's specifically bad. Yeah, brainwashed. Yeah. You can't really pick a side. You remember, the wicked are going to destroy the wicked. This thing between Russia and NATO and Ukraine and all that, they're all bad. They're all mafiosos vying for top dollar. I have a feeling myself. I follow Lee Stranahan pretty closely, and I think he's got a pretty good hand on it. If you don't follow him, you might want to on Twitter at Stranahan. He has a real good understanding of the history of Ukraine and Russia. Um, and, I look, if things were as they appear face value, I would say Russia has been the victim for a long time. They're not the Soviet Union anymore. They're just not. But anybody that goes and sticks up for them, and I'm not saying I like the fact that they went into Ukraine. I understand why they did, but you know, whenever you have these forces starting to work, innocent people get hurt, okay, and killed, and that's just not good. That's wrong. So yes, depopulation has been going on for years, as Samsha 101 says. The birth rates are dropping, and a lot of people might say, "Well, we have too many people." Well, who's telling you that? The same people that are starting the wars and taxing you and all these other things. That doesn't mean that what they're telling you is correct. You know who actually pollutes the world more than the little people? Don't pollute the world by and large. It's the large corporations. Look at the spraying in the skies, the chemtrails. Look at the production of plastic and China dumping all that stuff in the ocean. It's not the little people. If we were just left alone, we could do pretty well. But again, the power elite, however you want to look at them, some people say don't call them elites, they're dirt bags, and that's true. But anyway, the people that are in control, they say about 100 families or so, they want this place for themselves. God made it for all of us, but they want it for themselves. They're the evil ones that have tried to take over, and they've poisoned so many of us already. Okay, so in other words, it's going to get pretty serious, I think. Will it go to nuclear? I think you have to plan as if it is. Okay? Just plan that it will. And if it doesn't, then you're ahead of the game. But then they're still going to be there for, surveillance. They're going to be using all kinds of things to control your livelihood. If you don't be good little boys and girls, they're going to shut you down. That's all coming. Yeah, Ukraine is corrupt. Yeah, well, Russia is too, to a great extent. But if I were going to pick a nation on the earth today that I have trust in, it would be Russia at this point. Okay. Yes, I know that they went ahead with this program, of doing that. But my understanding was is that it was a different product, that it wasn't involved in any kind of changing the human genome. But uh, I don't have definitive information on that, but that's what I understood. But regardless, what Russia is now is what the United States was, say, 60 years ago, and what the United States was 60 years ago, or what Russia was 60 years ago. We're now Russia. The U.S. is now Russia, the Soviet Union. So, in other words, get prepared. Prep, pray, stay out of the way as much as you can. Always use self-defense. You've got that right. Although when you do, they're going to say you're the terrorist, and that's coming. So make plans for that as well. You know what I mean? Whatever it takes. Okay. Let's see. What was that? I heard from Corbett Redvax is just badass. I don't know. Um, how do you know unless you look at it? My understanding is that that's proprietary as well. Nobody knows what the ingredients are. Did they do that because they want to hurt their people? I don't think so. I think they're doing it because they were playing the New World Order's game. Whose game? The WEF's game. I'm not sure what Putin's thinking. I mean, to for the WEF to have with Ukraine being one of their hubs for what they do and for all the corruption in the world, Hillary and Biden's and all that, to attack Ukraine is attacking itself. If they told Russia to do this, then this is the false flag where they attack themselves and then claim victimhood, right? I think that's maybe what they were going to do at first, but I think it's changed. I get the distinct impression that Putin's serious about protecting Russia. That's the way I look at it right now, and I think Colonel McGregor and I are on the same page with that. You need to assemble what Redcon are we in? Well, Redcon is readiness condition. Okay, the American military is not at Redcon 1. Their readiness condition has deteriorated substantially. Now, if you're talking about the DEFCON system, okay, Russia in their system, if you used our system to say where they are, they're at DEFCON 2 right now. In other words, they've taken the safety off of their systems and they're ready to go, but they haven't fired them yet. I don't know what our DEFCON is. Our DEFCON is probably up pretty high. So I would think at least 3 or 4, but I haven't checked lately. Okay, I haven't checked that because, first of all, they don't tell you. You don't get that from the government. You get it from private organizations that have people who have been in the military system and DoD, et cetera, and so they kind of understand based upon their data where we are. But the government hasn't told us if they're what DEFCON they are. People are assuming that we're probably at DEFCON 3. I would think something like that. We're certainly lower than 5. It goes DEFCON 1 is missiles in the air. DEFCON 5 is just kind of things are going along. So we're probably somewhere in between there. Would be my guess. Lieutenant Colonel, okay, we already got that. I stand with Russia. NATO needs to end. The banks are. Well, no, see, and that's the catch-22 we're in. Um, I'm not really for either side. I'm looking at this thing from, what's the end game of all the players involved, and understanding what the Soviet Union came about because of the West, and most of you know that. Lenin and Stalin and Trotsky and all those guys. The Bolsheviks were funded by Western banks, Western people, in New York, London, Washington, D.C., to overthrow the czar. of Russia, and then the communists came in and they were worse than the Tsar ever was. They killed millions of people in Russia, and Ukraine took a big hit on that, which is the breadbasket of Russia, which is one reason why things are the way they are today. But I can't really say that I'm taking a side. All I'm saying is that we, as I said at the beginning of the video here, the live stream, we're the end target. They're who they're really after. And I don't mean the Russians. I mean these people that control the world, the Schwabs, the Kissingers, the royal. Well, they're not even true royals, but the people that run Britain. You know, the royal house there, that say they're British but they're not, and then other people involved, the Rothschilds, whatever. Those people want to get rid of the rest of us, and that's so. All of this is just so that they have an excuse, so that when people start dying, they can say, "Well, it was because of this disease, or it was because of this war, or whatever." But it's because they're working it out. It's their refuge of lies. They hide behind the refuge of lies, and unfortunately, too many of us believe their lies. And if we don't believe it, we still don't do anything about it. So I'm probably missing some important questions here. RT is blocked in the UK. Yeah, that's right. And they just blocked them here in the US too. We will no longer, and which is really wrong. From chat, is Russia justifying the action it is taking against Ukraine? Actually, yes. The Minsk Accords were violated by NATO and Ukraine. Yes, absolutely. That is a fact. The Russians are justified. They're really not the aggressors here. They're taking defensive action. The problem, of course, is that again, as I said, Europe is at DEFCON level 2. Yeah, that's probably, if Russia's at level 2, then they may be too. But be careful, because no government's going to tell you that. All right, that's all done by private organizations that make these determinations. So they don't even really know what the government's got going. Anyway, so my point is, our side has been after Russia. Look at the color revolution that Soros, the State Department lady Newland, and Biden and all those guys did to Ukraine back in 2014, 2015. All the people that were killed because of that, and then they're still after the Russians in the eastern areas there, which Putin has been saying, knock it off, stop killing these people, stop harassing them, and they haven't been. And there really are Nazis in Western Ukraine. They really are. They really are. And and I'm not saying that, we can get in this big argument. Well, Hitler, he was misunderstood. World War II is all written by the victors, and it's all lies. Hey, all I know is what's going on now. Okay, and how the people in Western Ukraine, Kiev, and that area are treating the Eastern Ukrainians who've been wanting to be annexed by Russia or return to Russia. So here we are. So I mean, if somebody, if Russia, we saw this in 1962 at the Cuban Missile Crisis. They started bringing in Russians and missiles into Cuba, and what did we do? We were ready to go to war. Well, how come that was okay, but Russia protecting itself isn't? You see the refuge of lies that they hide behind and the hypocrisy? And again, there's another thing here, and you have to keep this in mind. At the geopolitical level, their thought processes are a lot different than yours and mine. I'm not saying that they're justified in what they do, but what I'm saying is that you have to at least try to understand that it's not the same as somebody breaking in your house, even though it is. Okay? They look at it differently. Okay? It's a game of mafiosos, and there's no honor amongst thieves. So you just have to take that into consideration. Let's see, my chat here is giving me a little trouble. Yeah, Russia Times is what the Roy is spewing right wing rhetoric. They are all on the same team. Right wing? You don't even know who I am, Dragonfly. This isn't right wing rhetoric, it's common sense. I recognize lies when I see them. Glenn Beck said the same exact thing today. Well, there you go. Dragonfly is Glenn Beck right wing rhetoric? No. So I think you need to go away, Dragonfly. If you can't give me specifics about why you're saying. If you said, Roy, you're right wing because you're spewing that the Republican Party is incorruptible, whatever, something like that. Give me something I can react to. Telling me that I'm right, that I'm giving right wing rhetoric is silliness, especially if you've been watching my channel for any length of time. I'm not going to spend any more time with you. You can go away. How about that? Fabric of lies. Yes, this is exactly the Cuban Missile Crisis in reverse. Exactly. That's exactly what it is. Azov. Yes, yes, yes. See, somebody knows what they're talking about. Harley Davidson. Yeah, they are Nazi political groups. That's correct. Yeah, that's correct. And like I say, if you want some real good background information, people say that, well, Stranahan, he's a Russian asset. Why? Because he studied Russia and he knows what's going on there. He understands the Ukrainian crisis. He pointed out the whole thing with Nuland and the other lady, Alexander Chalupa. He knows all that, and all that's come out, and yet they still say he's a Russian asset. No, he's just telling it the way it is. So again, you can go to @Stranahan, Stranahan. I think I saw Roosevelt post that just a few minutes ago. Yeah, I like that, Cheyenne. Don't get yourselves caught up in these insane demonic elites wars. That's true. That's why I say, don't. When I said prep, pray, and stay out of the way, and don't get involved, you need to defend yourself. That's one thing. Okay, prep, pray, stay out of the way. But at the same time, you see, Antifa and Proud Boys going at it down the street. Don't join it. Okay, don't get involved in that. All right. Well, the same thing with this. Don't get involved. It's not your fight. All right. And if they try to make it, if they start drafting your sons and daughters, you say no. You come for my son or daughter, and you're going to get a hole in your head. Okay. I mean, that's how serious this is. Are they taking out biolabs in Ukraine? When I first heard, thanks Roosevelt. When I first heard that, I had seen some reports on that, but I didn't know who the reporters were. I found out later that some of them were in fact well informed, but I didn't want to say that at first. At this point in time, I still don't have the actual concrete information, but I think that there's a lot to that. There's enough reporting on it now and evidence to suggest that that's the case, that it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, if they're going to bring nuclear weapons into Ukraine and whatever, who knows what else, pardon me, I burped, bringing in chemical weapons there with all the other corruption, chemical labs with all the other corruption that Ukraine is hiding, it wouldn't surprise me a bit. So, see, that's another thing. If Putin is in fact taking out the weapons systems that could destroy, they're basically mass casualty type weapons, weapons of mass destruction. If he's doing that, that would almost seem counter to him being on board with the World Economic Forum and the New World Order. Is he double crossing them? Maybe. So that's why I say we really don't have enough information yet. But if I were a betting man, if I were a betting man, and I haven't been one, I try to make sure that everything is lined up right. I'd say that Putin actually is serious about what's happening, and the New World Order is concerned about him. Now, they probably have plans in case he did it this way. How that's going to work out, I don't know. They don't want a nuclear war. I mean, they want death and destruction, but they don't want to lose all the infrastructure. So what will they do? Will they turn to some of the weapons that we don't have any ideas what they are? I mean, Putin might be saying, I'm ready to use nuclear war. If you want to go there, we'll do it. But in fact, he might have weapons that are far more powerful and far more surgical. He might be able to take out, Davos, for instance. He might know where Klaus Schwab is hiding and send what we've got is called a rod of God, right? They might have something like that. I'm sure they do. Maybe he's going to take out those guys, which would be fine with me. They need to leave the innocent people in the world alone. We've got enough troubles. We deal with trying to put food on the table, raising children, the dangers in the world, wild animals, accidents, things falling on our heads from buildings, whatever. We don't need these idiots causing these problems. They hide behind a refuge of lies, and we need to understand that. And their refuge of lies is going to come down. And we're going to talk some scripture towards the end of this. And I've talked about it before, but we'll do a little bit more. So the bottom line, Roosevelt, is I think that Putin is taking out biolabs. I think they are there. How he's doing it, somebody said, I think, I don't remember who it was, but they said, well, if they bomb the biolabs, that'll release the agents. Well, not necessarily. If they use the right type of weapon, the high heat would basically destroy all that anyway. Um, and if there are no people to contract the disease around, basically the sunlight and being exposed to the air would take it out. So, but I'm sure that they have figured out how to do that without causing a problem. So, however they do it, I think it'll work. Is what I'm figuring out at this point. I don't know says it all. Johnny P, you talking to me? I have to admit I don't know everything. If I said I knew everything, that would be suspect. Okay? In intelligence, you look at what you can get. I've told you before, I use a decision matrix. I put all this stuff up, and then where these things meet, then I know that that's probably the closest to the truth. It's not absolute. And intelligence is fluid. And anybody that tells you they know what's going on exactly, they're lying to you. Okay? But controlled op, Robert Stahl, controlled op, lest the Putin invasion fail, 7-Eleven Lab versus NWO, I don't know. Um, I don't think Russia's going to be defeated in Ukraine. And I've said that from the beginning. They can kick our butts. Even in an all-out fight with NATO, they would kick butt, especially American butt. Okay, so but I think Putin didn't want to go all the way, but Zelensky, who's a corrupt piece of crap, worse than Putin, probably not as bad as Biden, but he's corrupt. He's a piece of crap, and Putin gave him a chance, and he's following his masters up there in Davos and in New York. He's not even listening to Biden. He knows better than that. It's the people that are backing Biden. So whatever's happening, Zelensky is standing up and trying to stand against Putin, obviously, and Putin's giving him the chance. Look, the Russians told the people there in all these cities where they're laying siege, get out. Okay, why would Russia do that? I mean, technically for their own safety, yeah, it would have looked bad as far as news items and stuff, saying, look how the Russians were so bad. But if they weren't concerned about the people, they would have just done a massive carpet bombing, knock everything out, and just walk in. But they're not doing that. They're telling the people, look, get out of the way. We're not. Our argument isn't with the people. And these people that say the Ukrainians are fighting for their freedom, are you kidding me? They don't have freedom there. It's all propaganda in the West. What's your thinking on nuclear exchange? Yes or no? I think it's very likely that there will be a limited tactical nuclear exchange along the Ukrainian NATO borders. I think that's very possible. Will it go to strategic nuclear weapons, interballistic or intercontinental ballistic missiles? I don't know. They're certainly poised to do that. But I think after a few rounds of tactical nukes, I think people are going to back up and say, wait a minute." That's how I look at it. Colonel McGregor might disagree with me. He might say that that'll just trigger an all-out, exchange. But I'm not certain about that. Okay, I would certainly hope not. What are you talking about, Michael Longo? Good God, all the news channels are talking about the power plant on fire, and you stay on topic of your opinions, Roy. Come on. What are you talking about? You going to listen to all the news channels? Michael Longo, you've already shown you listen to the mainstream media. I don't do that. Okay, so I don't know what you're talking about. I mean, there are a lot of things going on in Ukraine, okay, and around the world. But if you're getting your information from the stream news channels. I think I'd regroup there, buddy. Yeah, Mafia didn't die. They changed outfits. Yeah, yeah, for sure. That's exactly right. Yeah, they became the legislators, the presidents, the Department of Defense brass. Of course. Yeah, exactly. Now that's an interesting statement. Ready, set, go. 60. All countries will be cleansed. Well, cleansed of what? I do believe that there's been a division, and I've talked about that. Anybody who's followed me for the last little while, I've talked about the division, the wheat and the tares, the good and the bad, and all that. But there's no promise that the good people will all survive this. I would like that, but I'm not in charge. I had a friend not long ago tell me, you remember, you can't tell God how to do his job. So cleansed of what? What we need to cleanse them of are these leeches that have been over us for all these years. Okay, Longo, I'm going to give you another chance here. Ukrainian Minister of Foreign Affairs Dmitry Kuleshov said Thursday night that if a reactor at the power plant were to blow up, it will be 10 times larger than the. Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's nothing new, right? So, yeah. Didn't I just say about the dangers of nuclear? I mean, you've got nuclear reactors, and the radiation fallout from that, the pollution of the environment. Yeah, so yeah, I know that. I don't get your point, Longo. I really don't. And at this point, I just soon you not try to make another one. Dragonfly, I think you're in the wrong room. What did Dragonfly say? Go to CNN for your news. Oh, was he attacking the fact that I'm not paying attention to the MSM? I mean, I don't totally ignore them, but I already know. I mean, Operation Mockingbird is in high gear right now. Why would you do that? The only reason why I would listen to any of the mainstream media is to find out what lies they're telling. That's all I listen to it for, to tell you the truth. Okay, Roy, took notes of your last video. Thank you. I sent them to Bishop Larry Gators with a link. He does class on. Good. Okay. Yeah, thank you. I can't quite see that. Well, that's Arabic. Okay, great. Thank you very much. All right. Yeah, BS alert. Crazy cat lady. Hi, crazy cat lady. I don't know who you're talking about, me or somebody else, but whatever. I think I've seen you on here before. Geez, this is nuts. It's like all of you are asleep. Michael Longo, I'm going to say it one more time. There are dangers in this. Of course, the nuclear power plants are a problem. Hell, I'll tell you a real problem, Michael, if you hadn't thought of it. If they turn down, if there's a cyber attack and they shut down the power to a nuclear power plant, that's as dangerous as a nuclear weapon going off, even more so. All right? So now I just assume you're not bringing it up again. Azov Battalion, yeah, Michael Paul, it's exactly right. Cheyenne, Roy does streams of news, but not going to war himself. Isn't that strange? Didn't you ever hear about a Marine general, Cheyenne, who said war is a racket? The smart people stay out of the war. And yet, I served 28 years in the military. I think I'll leave you alone. Yeah, that's right, Hallmark. NATO wouldn't let Putin talk about things. Yeah, and he's pissed. Yeah, of course, because it's endangered his people. I don't think he's playing a game. I don't think he's a WEF member unless they figured him out psychologically and they're going to use him and he thinks he's, you know, making these decisions on his own. And in reality, he's being forced into them by people like Schwab and Kissinger and Rothschilds, etc. But I don't think so. I really don't think so. It's Hitler's plans repackaged. Exactly right, Jason Owens. That's exactly what we're seeing. Yeah, that's exactly what we're seeing. And actually, worse than that. Okay, let's see. Here's Roosevelt. Mike Marcia Jack. Yes, we should always keep our focus on helping those in need. Yes, absolutely. And that goes back to what I was saying before. Prep, pray, stay out of the way. Help those that you can. Keep people around you of like mindedness. You're not going to be able to trust everybody. This is going to balkanize the United States. I've told you about that before. We're going to turn into, very similarly to what happened to Yugoslavia, neighbor against neighbor. It's going to get that bad. Is this live? Yes, so far. Dragonfly is from Off the Wall Prepper Channel. Really? Well, you're not here. Dragonfly doesn't need to be here selling his wares, okay, or their wares. That's not what we're about. I'm not saying not to prep, but that's not what I'm here for, okay? So if you're here selling your wares, forget about that. Oscar Andelon, 82nd Airborne First Rangers Paratroopers here. See the story of Our Lady of Fatima, Three Secrets. Yeah, the Three Secrets of Fatima. Very good. Thank you, Oscar Andelon. I appreciate that. 82nd Airborne. A lot of respect. A lot of respect. Yeah, there you go. And that goes, yes, Oscar, I see what you're getting at. That's why, it's been a few years back, but I covered the idea and I've said it in recent videos, that God works through men. I've called Russia Assyria. Assyria was the one that came down, and because of Israel's wickedness, God allowed Assyria to basically destroy Israel and carry what was left away. So God uses men, and He manipulates these things by using men. That's how I look at it. Not saying He can't come and do it Himself, but a lot of times it's this way. On the third secret of Fatima, yeah. Now there are some problems with that right now, as you know. The current pope and what he is supposed to do to cause that. Okay, that's Catholic, and I'm not going to go there, but I know what you're talking about. And in my estimation, at this point right now, as I've said, I have more faith in Putin than I have in almost any other world leader. But I'm cautious with that, okay? Because we never want to fully give our support to a man. We need to give our support to principle, the attributes of God, the principles of God. Okay, so as far as they go in supporting the principles of God, I'll support them. But as soon as they get off that track, then things change. But I appreciate you bringing that up, Oscar Andelon, because yeah, that definitely has an impact. NATO should be disbanded. I agree. They're worthless. Well, Trump pointed that out, and I don't even like Trump, right? And I've known that for a long time. As I mentioned in a video a few days past, um, I worked for NATO for some time and was involved in bringing the Bulgarian army into NATO. Monica Beach, thank you for that compliment. Middle ground, yeah, probably because, like I said before, I don't trust any of these mafiosos. They've proven that we can't trust them. They use a refuge of lies to protect them and their power. Thank you, Monica. I appreciate that. Oh, I'm glad you're leaving, Michelando. Done. Play your mind games with opinions that do not matter. Yeah, I agree. Okay, bye. I'm happy that you're leaving, and I think that applies to you. Roosevelt, if you wanna boot this what's his name again, Michael Longo off, wouldn't hurt my feelings. I think he's beating a dead horse. He's just trying to get attention. Yes, there. Roosevelt just posted that again. Follow Lee Stranahan for background on Ukraine. The Twitter, yeah, that's Twitter, not YouTube. So it's twitter.com Stranahan. Yeah, yeah. Fourth Industrial Revolution, the Fourth Reich. It's all the same. Yeah, for sure. Planting seeds, probably a good idea. Okay, let's go down here and see if there's anything else. I'm way behind, I can tell. Yeah, Cold Steel says Azov Battalion are self-confessed neo-Nazis and are part of the Ukrainian reserve forces. We are supporting them financially in the West with our taxes and vilified if we disagree. Exactly. And isn't it funny? And I've heard this talked about today. Isn't it funny that the United States is funding both sides of this war? They're funding Ukraine, and by a back door with buying Russian oil, we're financing Russia. Oh, yeah, we're attacking their banking system and all that's going to do is just force them to go to China. But we're really backing both sides of this thing. Why is that? Is Biden that stupid? No. Remember, you are the target. He wants to take you out. Anything that makes your life harder so that you can't live, survive, have children, and have a future, they want to take all that away from you. So all of this other stuff that seems so confusing and hypocritical and oxymoronic, mutually exclusive, all that, it's because you are the target. That's, you have to look at it that way. They are at war with you. So you have to react that way. You have to make plans that way. Where do I find that shirt, Roy? I have no idea. I bought this shirt. Oh my gosh. I keep clothes for a long time. It's really funny. I have clothes I wore in high school. I'm not a hoarder. It's just I don't buy clothes that often. I try to get as much use out of them as I can. Some people say, well, that's why you're so out of fashion, and other things that don't seem to work out quite right. But anyway, this shirt I've had since 2009, I think, is when I got it. Yeah, 2009. Kimberly Wilson, is Putin not a pawn in the game as well? Aren't they all puppets? To an extent, yes. But remember, these are men who will they will do what is best for them, what they see is best for them. So even if he was given to the WEF originally and all of this, he may have been using it so that he could get on the inside and find out what their plans are. And I've talked about that. That's the reason why I had such a problem with General Michael Flynn. I don't trust Flynn, and I explained why. General Michael Flynn was the commander he was the director of the DIA, the Defense Intelligence Agency. He was probably our top intelligence officer across all the spectrum. And he's going to fall for an FBI trap in the White House when they knew going in there that the deep state was their enemy. He had been a part of it. If there's anybody that I don't trust, it's Michael Flynn at this point, because that makes no sense to me. I wouldn't have fallen for that. So Putin may have gone there, didn't like what he saw, and started to figure out a way to try to, stick it to him. I don't know. I'm not in his. I can't see inside his head. All I can do is try to figure out what's happening on the ground, and that's hard enough, especially with the shutdown of the information now. Stranahan anywhere else? Stranahan, he has contacts, and Stranahan's in my estimation is probably somewhat in danger, uh, because he has contacts in Ukraine and Russia. He can get firsthand information. I'm sure he filters it to make sure that he's not getting BS information that is going to mess things up. He's a smart dude. So I think Stranahan's a good source to keep up with. And what he's going to tell you is basically what I'm telling you now. He's going to say that Russia's been the victim in all of this, and that Ukraine was used to get at Russia. And I agree. I absolutely agree. Yeah, Canada's bad. I know, Scott. I know. That's what I mean. Look at Trudeau and his lies. I mean, that guy, he can't tell the truth if his life depended on it. Right? Cheyenne, you're welcome. Authenticity seeker. Well, thank you. I don't know about being a hero. It's like I said before, it's hard for me to do this actually for a lot of reasons, but I'm actually doing it because I feel a responsibility that I worked for this evil empire for 28 years in one form or another. and I gotta make amends for that. Crazy cat lady, can you say no without going to holes in heads? For a little while longer, but they're gonna force it. Crazy cat lady, they're gonna force it. Your son is in the 101st, concerned praying. I know. I've been telling people now since probably 2011 not to get involved in the military for the reasons I've spelled out more than once. But I didn't get to everybody, and it wouldn't matter anyway. People are going to make their own decisions. Yeah, that's probably true. I'm talking a ready, set, go again here. Svoboda, yes, is a Nazi-oriented party. Exactly, Harley Davidson. Harley Davidson, that's correct. Yeah. Oh, really? Stranahan's on Crowdsource the Truth at 5? Truth 5? Okay, well, that's good. Lee needs to get that information out to as many people as he can. Yeah, that's right, Julius C. See, that's another problem. The United States, even, they may not be sending troops, but you can bet your bottom dollar they're sending mercenaries in there, and they're pulling some of this where they're killing civilians. Yeah, especially on the eastern side. But they may even kill some on the western side and then say the Russians did it. Oh yeah, we're dirty bastards. The people that lead our country in the NATO. Look, NATO was, if you remember back to 1970s. I can't remember all the detail, but it was the Red Army, the Berghoff, I think, group, where they were terrorists, pretending to be terrorists, and they were killing all these civilians in Europe. It was NATO that did it to try to say that Russia was doing it. I know. It's bad. It's bad. Look at Operation Northwoods. Look it up. Look what we did in Iran. Oh, I know. And look what we did on 9/11. By the way, I saw something today. I don't know how true it is, but that there's somebody that's coming forward with some proof of 9/11. Do you know who it is? It's supposed to be Putin. We'll see. We'll see. This is live. Yeah, I'm taking questions. Roosevelt says Stranahan also has a weekly show with Crowdsource the Truth. Oh, that's what you're saying. Okay, thank you, Roosevelt. He used to have his own daily show, but he's had a hard time getting information out because they do give him a rough time. They do. Yeah, don't take the poke. It's one of the things that's hurt me about some members of my family, and we've had some disasters because of that. But I'm not here to talk about that right here. That's pretty good. Erical Torres, is that what that is? CRP Colonel Patches. That's funny. Yeah, that's right, Kevin. A lot of the footage of the supposed war is. I saw some today. And, I've been in the military and I know a training exercise when I see one. And they were training exercise films. Even the firing of real weapons. They were on training ranges. Yeah, I know. Yeah, of course. And so, a legal man on Twitter has pointed out, how come with all the cell phones and everything over there, we're not getting footage all over the place? And then people say, well, look here, look there. Hey, I've seen very little actually. And I'll be honest about this. There was some footage of supposedly a Russian column that had supposedly been hit either by an ambush with anti-tank weapons, anti-armor weapons, or with aircraft, right? Or both. And I was looking at those pictures and I was saying, I don't know. That doesn't look right to me. And then I had somebody on here the other night when I was on a video, and they said, "Oh, the Ukrainians have taken out 200 Russian tanks." No, they haven't. Now, if that person had said, They've taken out 200 Russian armored vehicles, which aren't necessarily and not usually tanks. You're talking about armored personnel carriers. You're talking about command vehicles. You're talking about even like Humvees could be, if they're properly put together, right? They could be considered armored vehicles. But Russia has, I don't know what they've replaced them with, but like the BRDMs, the Burdams, okay, but they're not tanks. So yeah, they could. There's possibility that 200 Russian armored vehicles of one sort or another have been disabled or taken out. That's possible. Total, not 200 tanks. No way. No way. Yeah, first casualty of war is truth, Sarah Brown. Absolutely, and you really have to remember that. And our government is doing that to us. Okay, we are the enemy of our government, and all the people of the world, their governments consider them their enemy. So everything else that's going on between the mafiosos, I've said this how many times tonight? Remember, you're the main target. Okay, that's interesting. I could see that. Just saw on Twitter that Ukraine and Russia have tentatively agreed to safety quarters and delivery, as long as they don't violate it and use it for something else. Yeah, and that's humanitarian. And it's like I said before, Putin, if he really wanted to do the job, he would have just blitzkrieged the whole thing. Not even warned the civilians to get out, but he did warn the civilians. And he really doesn't want to destroy all the infrastructure. He wants to keep that for the people. It's Zelensky that's the problem. Zelensky, Biden, the WEF, and NATO are the problem. Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. I started laughing. Fear God, Lori B. What about the moon to be hit tomorrow? Yeah, I've heard about that. We'll see. You know, signs in the heavens and in the earth, stars falling from the sky, etc., etc. I know all those things could be allegorical, but yeah, it could really be the truth too. Oops, sorry about that. The Kabuki Theater, a lot of it is, and I just pointed out that destruction of that Russian column supposedly. I'm not so sure about that. I'm not sure about that. Yeah, that's right, 3%er. Putin ain't Trump. That was a joke. Oh, it's for somebody else. Okay. Rod of Gods, yeah. By the way, there was a destruction of a Ukrainian government building that I'm very suspicious of as well. You might remember that in Lebanon, there was a building that was blown up there that supposedly, and it was a big, huge explosion. It was breaking windows in cars a couple miles away. This was a few years back, and it was on the harbor there on the coast, in a harbor. And when the building blew up, it had apparently other munitions in it, and it was really bad. There was an indication that that there was a missile that came in and did that, and I'm not so sure that's the case because you'd need a camera with a high resolution and a high frame speed to catch some of those because they're moving really, really fast. Well, this building was blown up in it may have been in Kiev, I'm not sure, but it was a government building and it blows up and in there you see this what looks like a missile coming in and I'm going to say it again. I don't think I'm almost thinking that that was Photoshop. This is just I'm just guessing here. I wanted to ask Monty about it and some other people, but I'm very suspicious of this. And then when the explosion occurred, if you're watching the people and the vehicles outside this building that was supposedly blown up right on camera, there aren't people being blown back by the blast or cars being thrown over or broken glass in the vehicles. You see one car rolling kind of towards the camera, and you're looking at the building probably from a couple hundred yards away, a couple, at least 200, maybe 300 meters away. But with that big explosion, there's hardly any other collateral damage in the parking lot. It's absurd. I don't think it was real. I don't think it was. Yeah, that's possible. Sarah Brown, good point. It might have actually been a Ukrainian building that had a gas explosion, and that's what it. I would actually, that's what I would say that looked like to me, with the very very black smoke, and all of that. Yeah, I don't think that was real. As far as being a missile that blew it up, I just ammonium nitrate. Now you're talking, the situation with the Mara building, but at least that's what they said. We know more of the truth about that. There we go again with the government false flag. Yeah, it is a wag the dog. Oh, certainly. But I do think Putin is serious on NATO not encroaching on his borders. I do believe that. And I think that the combat that we're hearing about is real. How serious it is on the Ukrainian side right now, I don't know. Somebody pointed out a few minutes ago that there are mercenaries there. That is a fact. I think at this, I don't know what more fool's gold. Good question. Will it become like East and West Germany? Um, I, I can't see that far down the road, but Putin has said he's going all the way now because of what Zelensky's done. He's going all the way, so he wants to take the whole country back to Russia. So no, I don't think so. Now, could there be some table talk later where they make some agreements? Maybe, but Putin's going to say that didn't work before at Minsk. Why should I trust you now? So I don't know. I kind of doubt it. I think he's going to take the whole thing and say, I'm going to have it all, or we're going to go nuclear. Where do the Ukraine refugees go? Oh, wow, that's a good question. I think I heard that some moved over into Belarus, some went into Poland, um, but I haven't been keeping track of all the refugees. No, I don't, Movado. I don't know about a death hand, a Russian weapon called a death hand. Sorry, I don't. I've been out of a lot of that for a long time. I'm not as concentrated on the weapon systems anymore as I am on the strategic and tactical movements and the politics, the geopolitics of the situation. Okay, so that's where I really concentrate now. I know things about the rod of God, neutron bombs, and things like that, but actually, we're far beyond that at this point. Yeah, Samsha 101. A lot of people are saying that Putin is going to destroy the globalists and the new world orders, new order. The third secret of Fatima had something to do with that. Also that Satan himself was walking the halls of the Vatican. Anybody looks into that, you'll see some of that. White flashes inside the smoke before the Big Bang reminds me of. Yeah, that's exactly right. You're talking about that building that blew up. Yeah. All right, Putin told the no. Yeah, yeah. I think that's the way I look at it, Paul Wall. That Putin's not. He's not anybody's puppet at this point. He's doing his own thing, and he's taking them out. Okay. Geiger counter probably isn't a bad idea. Let's see here. Wrote by the same people that believe the Western government news me about. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, a lot of the people who fell for the poison, um, as Diana Gillespie's pointing out here, are the same people that are believing everything that's going on over there and thinking that Russia's the bad guy and they don't know anything about the Minsk Accords, anything like that. Sean Penn left the country. He went to Ukraine. Did he leave already? That was short-lived. That figures. He doesn't want to. He doesn't want to stand up to those Russians. It's like I said, Russians will kick butt. You know, I've explained the Soviet doctrine, which then went into the current Russian doctrine, and they don't send their elite units in first. So yeah, they're not to be messed with. I saw on Twitter before I got knocked off of there, Ginger McQueen. I don't know if any of you follow her. She she was a political commentator for some time and had her own little situation on Periscope for a while, but she put it pretty succinctly. She says, "Well, there are a lot of people that think that we shouldn't be ducking around with Russia. Substitute the D for something else, and you'll know what she is saying. She's pretty outspoken. I looked at that. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. J. Tig, Roy, do you think that the wicked use the word to self-fulfill prophecy? Absolutely. I've long said that the evil side uses the Bible as a playbook for their own purposes, probably more so than the true believers do, because they plan so far ahead. As a matter of fact, I'm going to jump ahead on something here. I was going to cover this later, but I'll cover it now. A few videos back, I talked about the statement that was attributed to Jesus, and I think he probably said it. Be ye as wise as serpents and as harmless as doves. And I explained that if you've ever been in the wild and you watch what serpents do, they don't strike unless they figure that they can do it without getting hurt. And doves are peaceful, that's true, as harmless as doves, but the other side of it is if you attack a dove's mate or their babies, they will hurt you bad. And they will swarm onto the whatever it was that was making the attack. I saw it actually happen one day, and I mentioned this. There was a hawk that was bothering one dove, trying to get it. And its mate and a whole bunch of other doves attacked that hawk, and that hawk in, received a deadly injury. And it fell out of the sky, hit its head, and it bled to death on the ground. So there's more to that statement than pacification. It's not talking about pacifism. The other side of that is something that I'd like to mention right now, and it has to do with, I might have to put my glasses on here, so pardon me. Lighting in here is not real good, and I have to check this out. Um, you've heard me talk about the old statement that, and it's in Genesis, and it says, I'm not going to read it. I'll just tell you what it is. You can look it up. That the children of darkness are wiser than the children of light. That's another part of the statement that Jesus was saying when he said, be as wise as serpents, but as harmless as doves. The children of darkness make plans to destroy things, to lie, murder, cheat, steal, etc. And they make it sometimes generations in advance. The point is they're poison. They make plans. And they strike when they think they can get away with it without getting discovered. Kind of like what's happening in our world today, right? So the other part of that thing where be as wise as serpents, harmless as doves goes back to Genesis where it says the children of darkness are wiser than the children of light. And so what Jesus was saying is be as wise as those children of darkness, but don't do what they do. So that's another aspect of that I wanted to cover tonight. So that kind of goes along with what you're saying. All right. I saw something here about an attack or something that was going on. Yeah, the Dave Knight show is superb. I come on during his show sometime when I can't stick around and I need to get something up, and I try not to take too much time. Okay, I don't think I've missed anything here. What happened? A half hour, my lower back muscle. I want the Doves to get Trudeau, Liza Jean Williams, and he deserves it. And I keep hearing these people say, we need, and this is going to get me in trouble, but we're way past peaceful demonstrations. They're not going to work. All right. And I keep hearing these people say, we need to resist in a legal, lawful, peaceful way. Then you're never going to make a change, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to tell you that right now. The world of Gandhi and Martin Luther King and even of Jesus is long gone. Okay? These people want to kill you. They are assaulting you with deadly weapons right now. And of course they make it illegal to oppose them. But it's going to come down to that. It's going to come down to that. And no, I don't trust our militaries. You see how they're trying to change them. They're all woke CRT now, and I had problems with them before. They take the oath to the Constitution. They don't even know what it says. They think it's what their boss tells them. We don't have many friends. But if you think you're going to change this world with peaceful protest, it ain't happening. And I think you've seen that now. I'm not saying not to do it, because that's a testament against the evil ones. What you do is you make these peaceful protests, you go into court, you object, you plead your case. Well, scriptures say you only have to do that 3 times. And then the 4th time, the enemy is delivered into your hands, and you can do with them as you wish. That's scripture. This isn't going to be solved this time with peaceful protests. It's going to be something like Putin going into Ukraine and kicking ass. And it's going to be people rising up like they are in New Zealand right now, kicking ass, because that's what they're doing. Have you been watching that? Long ago, you might want to go see what's happening in New Zealand. The people are out there and they're kicking the ass of the officials right now. Even after the court told Arden that her mandates are unlawful, she's still trying to push it. And so now the people are fighting them. They're fighting the cops and the military. Go check it out. And that's what it's. I don't want it, but they're leaving us with no choice. I hope Putin gets Klaus Schwab and all those people and cuts their heads off. Literally. Literally. But you can't do it by yourself. Okay? You need a competent authority to help you do it. And there aren't many right now, so you got to keep your eyes open. Look, Zelensky steps down and this ends. Yet he'd rather sacrifice it. Yeah, actually, he's a tyrant. Yeah, of course. Thank you for pointing that out, Warren Yu. Yeah, he would sacrifice his citizens and send armed kids out to get killed by the trained soldiers. Absolutely. Absolutely. Operation Gladio, thank you. I couldn't remember the name of it. Armored Saint. Operation Gladio was a very large operation by NATO to pose as terrorists, especially from Russia, right? So that they could say that the Russians deserved to get attacked or whatever. And they went around the bomb hole. I can't remember the exact name. Bomb holder Red Army, something like that. I can't remember the name of it, but they were out there killing a lot of innocent people, and they were pointing to Russia and et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, Operation Gladio. Thank you for bringing that up. I remember when that happened. One of the airport attacks killed a bunch of people, and it just made me sick. Those poor people, they just were going to see their families or do their business, and those bastards from NATO went in there and blew them up. No, NATO's not good. And neither is the US, and neither is the UK. Of course, they're all part of NATO. Yeah, Walter Baltzley, very good. Yes. He's just pointed something out I want to read to you all. The same reason the founding fathers selected the rattlesnake for their symbol. It gives you warning and only strikes if in danger, but when it does strike, it's deadly. Exactly what Jesus was talking about. Be as wise as serpents, but as harmless as doves. And I've already explained what the harmless as doves means. Be wise. Don't be aggressor. But if you're attacked, you swarm and you take them out. Yep. Okay. Yeah, Liza Jean, good point. Remember, they said they were going to worship the AI God, and somebody has the main chip where they're tied into the AI directly, and that's the individual that they worship as the AI God. Um, I brought that up when Trump went into Walter Reed and he came out and he had that eye problem. You know how all the elites have the black eye? Well, it's not because they're sitting there and getting hit in the head, and I've talked about that before. It's because they're having a surgical procedure where this type of chip is being implanted in the round of their optical nerve and has connections to the brain. That's why they get the black eyes. And Trump had it done. Whether he's the main guy or not, I don't know, but things are weird. Operation Mockingbird. Okay, let me go down through here real quick. BP Earthwatch. Jesse says if it blows up, it will be 10 times larger than Chernobyl. Yeah, Russians must immediately cease the fire, allow firefighters establish a security zone. Yeah, and that's true. Okay, that's true. It'll be bad. That's right. But see, we knew all this going into it, right, Jesse? We've actually talked about if one of these nuclear reactors doesn't get power, or if something like this happens, that's very very dangerous. Yeah, of course. Which, the Russians seized Chernobyl, right? And you wonder why. Yeah. No, I didn't. Roosevelt saying, "Did you see the video of Zelensky doing a disgusting group porno gay dance?" No, but that doesn't surprise me. That's what the New World Order is, isn't it? That's what it is. Thank you, Jesse, for clarifying that it is a nuclear power plant that apparently is on fire. That's bad. That's real bad. IAEA, that's the International Atomic Energy Agency, is aware of reports of shelling of the nuclear power plant in contact with Ukrainian authorities about the situation. I wonder if it was the Russians wouldn't make that mistake. I don't think. I wonder if it's it could be that the power was interrupted and they're saying it was shelling, or it could have been the Russians. But I suspect there might be something going on the Ukrainian side with that, Jesse. Just saying. No proof or whatever. That's the way I look at it, Kurt Landgraf. Yeah, best we can do is bringing people together and hope the evil people do not join them. Oh, they'll try. They follow us around like flies following around turds. What have we been? We've been going for an hour and 10 minutes. I haven't answered as many questions as I thought I should. Hitler was provoked in the same way with the Germans. Well, more than that, he was funded. Okay, I don't think Putin's getting funded the same way. Hitler was set in motion by people in New York, etc. This is a little different situation this time, but I see what you're saying. Yeah, we are the carbon they want to eliminate. That's exactly right. CO2 is not a poisonous gas. It's one of the four things you need for life. You need carbon dioxide, oxygen, water, and sunlight. Exactly. And they're trying to cut off the sunlight and the CO2, which is, basically saying you can't breathe anymore. They're just people are too stupid. They don't understand what's going on. Yeah, the convoy's going to DC. I don't know about entering DC. All right, let me just see if I'm missing anything here that I need to answer, and then I'll get to the last part. I don't want to keep you guys much longer. I knew this would go long tonight because I wanted to answer questions, so that's really what I'm looking for. No, Bella, God does expect you to defend yourselves. Yeah, that's the idea of be as wise as serpents, harmless as doves. Turning the other cheek had to do with a slightly different situation. It's patience. It's not the fact that you're not going to react. It's patience. You select the time and the place. You don't let the enemy select the time and the place. So they strike you on your right cheek and you're not ready to take it to the next level. You don't let them choose that as the time and the place for the argument. You say, okay, go ahead and hit me on this side. You're not being a pacifist. You're being smart. Thank you. Big B says it's not a nuke plant. See, that's probably why, everything that's happening now, I'm very suspicious of. Who knows what's really going on? Like I said, we're the target that they're really after. We are the target. Okay. Can't hear you, Roy. Sorry. Maybe I'm covering up the. When I do this, I might be covering up the microphone. Sorry. Okay, yeah, I'm glad somebody brought up Taiwan. That's as we're watching this whole thing develop in Ukraine, and with all the weakness that Biden has done in a time like this, you don't shut down your oil supplies, you don't shut down your energy supplies, you don't shut down your logistical trains. So they're not serious about us really being able to defend ourselves. The Chinese see this. We've shut down our oil production. How are our ships going to operate? A lot of them are nuclear, but regardless, they still need oil for other things. So now you shut that off. You can't fight a war in Ukraine now because you've shut off your own energy supplies. You can't do manufacturing and the things at home that you need to do. And you can't oppose the Chinese. Of course, they're going to go into Taiwan, and we're probably days, weeks away from that. Biden has made, it's not just Biden, remember, he's the puppet. We're deliberately being destroyed because of our wickedness. We've allowed these evil people to get in, and God's allowed it. Do I like it? No. Can we turn it around? We could, but will we? I don't think so. I don't think so. That's why I say, get ready. This is going to be bad. And I'm not as ready as I'd like to be. Heck no. Yeah, Ash Wednesday was yesterday. Mm-hmm. Yeah, fear God, Lori B. You. A lot of people are pointing out this Ukrainian nuclear plant on fire. Some people are saying it's not actually a nuclear plant. I don't know. I haven't looked at that today. I've been doing other things. I'm gonna have to check it out. Okay, I'm gonna jump to the end here. Yeah, there are. Oh yeah, of course. Moloch and Baal worshippers in Ukraine. Yeah, they're everywhere. That's why I brought up today. I think I made a comment about that today. And I actually, when I first saw this, it was about a week ago, where Alexander Soros, and Marina Abramovich, the spirit cooking lady, were saying, we have to protect ourselves. We have to go into Ukraine. We need to intervene in Ukraine to protect our liberties and our freedoms. And what did I say this morning about satanic worship? They're talking about themselves. That's why I wonder if Putin is really not playing the game, that he really is threatening their vulgar demonic system. He very well might be. Am I totally committed to that? No. I'm watching the events. I'm looking for principle. And certainly, if you've got Alexander Soros and Biden and Nancy Pelosi and Wall Street and Marina Abramovich saying, go to Ukraine, that's the devil talking. And that's the last thing we should do. Yeah. Yeah, the media is a problem. Boy, isn't that the truth? Yeah, the White Hat's cleaning up the deep state. It's all false. I've said for a long time, right? I gave Q a chance at first. I gave Q a chance. As a matter of fact, I was approached like within days of when Q first came out. They wanted me to be a part of the thing and make money and all that. And I thought, what's going on here? So I stuck with it for about a month and a half, and then I blew the whole thing wide open. When they came out with the DEF CON 1 crap, I said, you guys are fake. Either Trump's a liar, which turned out to be the case too, or you guys are playing a game here and you're not real. You're counter to what we should be standing for. So yeah, it was all a neutralization program to make you think that you didn't have to stand up and do anything. Roy, the power. Yes, I knew that. The power went out in Taiwan early this morning. I know they got hit with a cyber attack. That's why I say that there's probably the Chinese are probably they're checking the line. They're probing and they're getting ready. I think it stays weeks away at the most. Okay, I don't see anything from Roy. What are you doing to prepare? Everything I can, Will Jones, and it isn't enough. I've got a big family, and a lot of them don't take what I say seriously. Even with all the things that everything I've said has been happening, it has been coming. I mean, things I've been talking about for years. I can't get into all the details. All I can tell you is that even friends have reneged on their, because I told them what was coming. We got things prepared, and then little stuff happens. It's just food, water, medical supplies, weapons, neighbors, friends that you can trust. Good point, Roosevelt. Yeah, there are for sure no white hats in the deep state. The evil has gotten worse, not better. And I've said, like the FBI, you had Sean Hannity and all those guys. Oh, 99% of the FBI's. No, they're not. They're not good. It's rotten from the head all the way down to the bottom. And if you don't believe that, you're naive. Or if you don't know that, you're naive. If you believe that they're 99% of them are good, you're really naive. The brainwashing has worked real well on you. The television telling you how great the FBI and the CIA and NCIS and all these wonderful people are. You are their enemy. And you should understand what that means. Fire a Korean nuclear plant. There we go. USA Today. Oh, USA Today. Well, there's a problem right there. I had direct contact with USA Today on a couple of things, and they're not trustworthy any more than any other news agency. And I question a lot of what they put out. There was an incident that came out here just a few days ago where the USA Today was saying something, and I can't remember what it was, but and then it turned out that USA Today was lying, and that's not surprising. So anyway, we'll see what happens here. At this point, everybody's in danger anyway. They're trying, no matter what. Remember, I said years ago that the people that are doing all these horrible things, those who hide behind this refuge of lies, will destroy everything rather than lose power. If they feel like they're going to lose power, they'll blow the whole planet up with a black hole bomb. I mean, that's how these people are. I don't think God will let them get away with it, but the point is that's their mindset. They will destroy everything if they think they're going to lose power. And I'll go check on this thing with this nuclear power plant being on fire that was hit by artillery. You know, at this point in time, you just don't know. You know, you just don't know. Randy, man, I appreciate that viewpoint. I'm not certain about Putin either, but I'm not real pleased with most pastors at this point. I'm really not. Um, a lot of them, a lot of them are in place to assist the government, so I'm very careful with them. Okay, it's been an hour and 22 minutes, and I wanted to cover something else real quick. Okay, so Roosevelt saying USA Today is not the only news service reporting on the fire at the Ukraine nuclear plant. Something is happening, but who knows who did it? Okay, and still, all the MSM could be in on that. USA Today's just one arm. But yeah, I agree. We're going to have to watch that, Roosevelt. You're right. You're absolutely right. And that's not good at all. And it could be on purpose. Who knows? You know, that could change the whole course of things, couldn't it? Okay. I wanted to end on another note. Those of you who don't like to have scriptural study, you can leave. Okay. Russia is ready to drop the hammer on NATO and the United States. Could very well be. I know. As evil as we are, I understand. I don't want to see it. Okay. I had a conversation with my oldest son, Jeremy, tonight. And usually when that happens, there's a reason. And this is the reason. I'm not going to read all of Psalms 82, but I would ask all of you, after you get done here, please go read Psalms 82. Okay? By the way, on that fire on the nuclear plant, that's why, you know, this Langdon guy that I finally had Roosevelt throw off is because, you know, I can't keep track of everything. I appreciated the information, but when he says, you know, I'm dealing with all this stuff and I'm ignoring things, I'm not ignoring anything. Okay, now that I know about it, I'm going to go check on it. Okay, So my son and I are talking, and I want you all to go read Psalms 82 because that's kind of going to be the centerpiece about where we are right now is in Psalms 82, and you'll see what I'm talking about when you read it. But what I really want to concentrate on is uh, 1 Kings 22:16 to 23. Uh, if any of you know Dr. Michael Heiser, and I'm giving him the credit for this, okay, he's the one that first discussed this. Uh, he had cancer here a while back and was very sick. They thought he was not going to make it, and he did. So God blessed him because people like Dr. Heiser need to stick with us for a little while. And he brought this up, and again, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but 1 Kings 22:16 to 23. What's going on here is that there are these prophets, and they're called prophets. They're probably prophets of Baal because we have Ahab involved in all this, the husband of Jezebel, are saying that they should get into battle, okay? That they should go ahead and get into battle with let me see if I can find it here. Ramoth Gilead, okay? And uh, so there's this little thing that switches over into the heavenly realm to see what God's saying about all this. And this is basically, I'm going to read this here, and then I'm going to tell you how Michael Heiser explained it. Okay, so, and all the prophets, starting at verse 12 here, and all the prophets prophesied too, saying, Go up to Ramoth Gilead and prosper, for the Lord shall deliver it into the king's hand. Okay, and the real prophet was saying, don't do that, don't do that, and he was thrown in prison and all this stuff. Well, anyway, let's read chapter or verse 13. And the messenger that was gone to call Micaiah spake unto him, saying, Behold now, the words of the prophets declare good unto the king with one mouth. Let thy word, I pray thee, be like the word of one of them, and speak that which is good. And Micaiah said, As the Lord liveth, what the Lord saith unto me, that I will speak. And listen to what it is. So he came to the king, and the king said unto him, Micaiah, shall we go against Ramoth Gilead to battle, or shall we forbear? And he answered him, Go and prosper, for the Lord shall deliver it unto the hand of the king. Now, this is the real prophet saying, Yeah, okay, your other prophets were right. Well, let's slip down. I want to go down to verse 19. And he said, Hear thou therefore the word of the Lord. I saw the Lord sitting on his throne, and all the host of heaven standing by him on his right hand and on his left. And the Lord said, Who shall persuade Ahab that he may go up and fall at Ramoth Gilead? And one said on this manner, and another said on that manner. In other words, you have these people, these angels, this host of heaven, and they're saying, Well, I've got this plan. Let's do it this way. And the Lord goes, I don't think that's going to work. Then another one says, well, let's do it this way. And God says, no, I don't think that's going to work, right? And there came forth a spirit and stood before the Lord and said, I will persuade him. And the Lord said unto him, Wherewith? How? How are you going to do this? And he said, I will go forth, and I will be a lying spirit in the mouth of all his prophets. And God said, Thou shalt persuade him and prevail also. Go forth and do so. Another reason why I named this the Refuge of Lies. If you want to believe a lie, God will let you. He'll tell you time and time again, but finally he's going to say, believe your lie. And so what happens? The king goes and fights at Ramoth Gilead and dies. He doesn't prevail. He wanted God to tell him what he wanted to hear. So he hid behind a refuge of lies. So God let him believe a lie. Kind of goes along with Thessalonians, right? Where it says that God shall send them strong delusion that they believe a lie. There you are. So you demand to have a lie, you don't want the truth. God's turning on all of this. All of it. They want to live on a refuge of lies? Have at it, buddies. Well, there's another point to this, and it's Isaiah, and then I'll be done. Okay, and then you can go have your refreshments, whatever. Let's go to Isaiah 28. Okay, Isaiah 28, verses 14 to 18. Isaiah 28, verses 28. Whoops, verses. I lost my place here. Okay, verses 14 to 18. Isaiah 28, verses 14 to 18. Listen to this. Wherefore hear the word of the Lord, ye scornful men that rule this people which is in Jerusalem. Now some people might say, well, Jerusalem, what does that have to do with it? Jerusalem is also Babylon. You got to understand that scripturally. Jerusalem is also Babylon. Where's Babylon today? Well, the whole world now practically, but it's primarily referring to a very powerful kingdom. Let's read what it says here. Wherefore hear the word of the Lord, ye scornful men that rule this people which is in Jerusalem, those who love and maketh lies, want to be told lies, things easy to understand, the refuge of lies. Because ye have said, we have made a covenant with death. What have we seen in the last few years? And with hell are we at agreement. When the overflowing scourge shall pass through, it shall not come unto us. For we have made lies our refuge, hence the title of my video tonight. And under falsehood have we hid ourselves. Have we not witnessed that? Has not the reveal, the apocalypse, shown us that they're evil to the core, that they have their refuge of lies, and they will destroy us rather than lose power? Verse 16, therefore thus saith the Lord God, behold, I lay in Zion for a foundation, a stone, a tried stone, a precious cornerstone, a sure foundation. He that believeth shall not make haste. Judgment also will I lay to the line, and righteousness to the plummet, and the hail shall sweep away the refuge of lies, and the waters shall overflow the hiding place. And your covenant with death shall be disannulled, and your agreement with hell shall not stand. When the overflowing scourge shall pass through, then ye shall be downtrodden by it. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't care who you think God is, what he is, that's not the issue. Because none of us, unless you've had a visitation from the Almighty himself, and then you have to be careful. There are ways to test that, but all I'm saying is this, no matter what you believe, there are some principles that you must stand fast with and not budge an inch, a centimeter, a nanometer. Don't worry about following these leaders. You stand on principle, even if you stand alone. And what are the principles? Of course, you tell the truth, you don't steal, you don't hurt people, etc. But basically the two I've often talked about, piousness and righteousness. Love the Lord thy God, the principles. I mean, it's hard to meet God face to face, and when you do, you probably won't like him. To be honest about it. You'll probably say, I think I'll stay over here. All these Christians will think, I'm going to live in the, God, and, I'm going to be there. God is a consuming fire. Okay? And you can stand in his presence like Moses did, but certain things have to happen. But at any rate, piousness, piety, and righteousness. Piety is loving God and his principles, the principles that you do the best that you can and do right the best that you can. And righteousness is that you love your fellow man as yourself. Concentrate on those two things and judge everything else by the fruits of whether or not they are being righteous, the right use of something as opposed to the wrong use, and if it's being done with an object to honor and reverence God. That's all I got for you tonight. It's been an hour and a half. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you, Roosevelt. Thank you for being here and taking care of things. Thank you, Jesse. Thank you, Liza Jean. I appreciate you all helping me out here. I don't mean to be short with anybody. You're right, I didn't know about the fire. I'm glad that somebody told me about it, but to accuse me of not knowing because I'm busy doing this was pretty nasty. That was hitting below the belt. Okay? That was hitting below the belt, but I will go check on it now. Okay? If that is the case, if in fact there's a fire at a nuclear plant, that's bad news for everybody. Will it stop the war? Probably not. It might intensify it. They might say, well, now that we've had a nuclear release, let's just go all the way. Especially if NATO doesn't back off. Right? All right, y'all. Take care. Again, pray, stay out of the way. Pray for deliverance in a place of refuge, not a refuge of lies. All right. Keep your eyes on the horizon, your ears to the ground. Keep your situational awareness on high. This is going to be tricky. They're cutting off our supply lines. Can you believe that they would fund Russia with oil purchases from them, from Russia, cut off our own oil supplies and manufacturing, and yet still back Ukraine? And then, of course, with what China's doing, and we're shooting ourselves in the foot so that we can't walk, actually both feet. Biden's either a totally incompetent leader who doesn't know his rear end from a hole in the ground. I don't know if that's even applicable anymore. Or he's doing what he's been told to do. And again, you are the enemy in the end. Not China, not Russia, not ISIS, not the Taliban. They consider you the enemy. Out here for now. Take care.